All right, it's now 6:05, so we'll be starting now. Okay. So first of all, welcome everyone. I'm your host, Andrew Yao, a 10th grader at Watchung Hills Regional High School and member of the Committee in Career Development for the Alliance of Youth Leaders in the U.S. My co-host, Colin Belfield, will be helping run this seminar today. He is a freshman at Watchung Hills. Alliance of Youth Leaders is a student-run and nonprofit dedicated to the advancement of communities across the U.S. If you're interested in joining, feel free to check out the Alliance website that I'll post in chat after this introduction. Today, we're very honored to have here Dr. Belfield, the Dean of the College of Science and Liberal Arts at NJIT. He's also the Becton Dickinson Endowed Research Professor at NJIT, was elected the Fellow of American Association for the Advancement of Science in 2013, and Fellow of the American Chemical Society in 2019. If you have any questions during this seminar, please type them in chat and we will do our best to answer them. Welcome, Dr. Belfield, and thank you for being here. So
thank you very much, Andrew. And I want to thank the Alliance of Youth Leaders in the U.S. For helping to sponsor and organize this. And my son, Colin Belfield, who happens to be there as Andrew's assistant this evening. Would you like me to just click the share screen and run the PowerPoint, Andrew?
No need. I will share the screen for
everyone.
Give me a sec.
Okay, fabulous. So welcome, everyone. I appreciate you giving up a bit of your dinner hour to spend a little bit of time with us. I think this is a fabulous organization, and it's a great time for you to begin to think about your careers and to think about leadership opportunities. So as Andrew mentioned, I'm Kevin Belfield, Dean of the College of Science and Liberal Arts at the New Jersey Institute of Technology and a professor of chemistry at the New Jersey Institute of Technology. So what I thought I would do is tell you a little bit about, briefly about my own career path. But since my career path began so long ago, there might be some routes that have become flooded or obscured, or the highways have been built around my pathways. So I thought I would tell you a bit about, share with you some potential career paths that are available at the New Jersey Institute of Technology, along with some really interesting degree programs that we've developed that really have an eye on the future and the jobs of the future. And I'll share some information about some career paths our students are taking. But just to recap, I went to Rochester Institute of Technology, another polytechnic university, for my undergrad degree. And while I was there, I had the opportunity to participate in athletics, to participate in cooperative education work, undergraduate research and tutoring, and those are just all highly recommended activities. There's a multitude of things that you can do as an undergraduate activities, but gaining experience, whether it's research experience under the tutelage of a professor, whether it's working for either a small or a major company, I'll tell you a little bit more about that, or whether it's first receiving tutoring in subjects that are a little bit difficult perhaps to understand or to ensure that you're up to speed. And then later in your later years to actually begin to do tutoring. That really helps reinforce knowledge, and it's a great experience. But after that, I went to, between my bachelor and PhD, I worked for a year as a chemist at Bristol Myers, which is now Bristol Myers Squibb up in Syracuse, and then went on for my PhD at Syracuse. After graduation from my PhD, I wasn't quite sure what path I wanted to go, whether it was the industry path or the academic path, and went to Ciba-Geigy, a large Swiss chemical company. It's now been, that division has been purchased by BASF, the largest chemical company in the world. But then at some point when I was in industry, decided I did want to go on to the career path, because I felt that if I was going to spend my life doing something, I wanted to do something that, to me personally, I felt like I could have the greatest impact on people, and education was that calling. And so in order to do so, I needed to strengthen my research background. So I went and pursued postdoctorate research in a field different from my PhD at the College of Environmental Science and Forestry at the State University of New York. Then I went on to Harvard University, where I pursued research in the chemistry department and also had an appointment, a very interesting appointment in the Center for Science and International Affairs, where we were developing methods to verify the Chemical Weapons Convention, the Chemical Weapons Treaty that was being put forth for the world to many nations to agree to. Then I went on to become a professor at University of Detroit-Mercy, followed by University of Central Florida, where I began my administrative experience as the chair of the chemistry department for 10 years. And then was drawn to a position at the New Jersey Institute of Technology to become dean of the College of Science and Liberal Arts back in 2014. It's been a great experience, and you can see a few other accomplishments. But Andrew, if you could go to the next slide. So I grew up in a tiny, tiny town of about no more than 1,500 people in upstate New York, about 15 miles south of the city of Utica, which is a small city. But it's an agricultural town. I grew up partly on a farm and partly in the village. But it just so happened that this tiny town of Waterville, New York, which is very obscure, once upon a time, some of the beer companies, beer breweries in Utica grew hops in Waterville. A guy named George Eastman grew up there. He left Waterville, of course, long before I was born. He was born in 1854, but he grew up in Waterville, and I recall a sign where his house used to be around the corner of my house, and kind of always wondered who this guy was. And then as I got into high school and I got exposed to different subjects, and I started taking a liking to chemistry, I learned more about him, that he started Eastman Kodak Company, really started the whole field of photography and photographic development, chemicals and film, and drew inspiration from that and began to realize that one might be able to make a living as a chemist instead of a farmer. And so that was really what motivated me to go on. If you can go to the next slide. So I went to from Utica, where the little arrow, or from Waterville, where the little circle is there, to Rochester, New York, to Rochester Institute of Technology. And what drew me there is that you could begin gaining cooperative education experience, work experience in a company in your field, beginning your freshman year, your first year. So I did that. After my first quarter at RIT, I worked at Eastman Kodak Company, and again, that was one of my aspirations at the time. And so I pursued 2 co-op work blocks at Eastman Kodak, and then I wanted different experience, and there was a pharmaceutical company in Rochester, 2 co-op experiences there. I pursued undergraduate research. I was on track and cross country, and it was a fulfilling experience. It was a lot of hard work, much harder than I ever experienced in high school, but everything was worthwhile. And as I mentioned, after a stint at Bristol Myers Pharmaceutical Company, where I spent a year, and I very quickly realized as a bachelor degree chemist that I liked my boss's job better than my job. And my boss had a PhD, and so I had a chat with him. He said, well, you should go to graduate school and earn your PhD. And so that's what sent me to, I was already located in Syracuse, went to Syracuse University. Then from there, went down to Ciba-Geigy, just north of New York City, not far from where we are currently. But when I decided to pursue an academic path, there are certain things that you should do in the sciences. One is to pursue what's called postdoctoral research. That's research in a lab, either in the field you already have experience or in a new field, to gain more experience and to eventually formulate your own research ideas so you can be an independent researcher. So I went there, and again, one of the qualities that at least universities were looking for at that time was sort of your pedigree and your education. And so RIT was a good school, Syracuse was a good school. Harvard University had a famous person in my field. So I decided to go and pursue research at Harvard, and that was a great experience. And then got engaged in the Center for Science and International Affairs. Then went all the way over to Detroit, then took a loop down to Florida for about 16 years, and now back up to NJIT. So it's kind of an interesting journey, a series of decisions, but they all really start out with a strong foundation at your undergraduate level. And again, just a desire to continuously improve and to stay curious and to learn. So what I'd like to do now is spend the rest of the time introducing you to potential career paths at the New Jersey Institute of Technology. Now, NJIT is located about 25 miles east of Long Hill Township, where Watchung Hills Regional High School is. Well, Long Hill's just outside of Long Hill Township. We're a polytechnic, a public polytechnic institution, the only public polytechnic in the state of New Jersey. You can see we've got a lot of degree programs, a lot of research centers. We're a Research One university. I'll talk a little bit about that. And we're a really nice size university. We're large enough where we can offer just about everything that students might have an interest in. But we're not too large, so you're not impersonal. It's a very personal experience. Class sizes are small, typically around 24 or 25 students. Rarely do we ever go beyond that in our classes. That's typically where we are. So it's nearly a private school experience at a public university. And you can see there's a lot of different fields, a College of Engineering, Architecture, Management, Computer Science. We have an honors college. I'm going to tell you about potential career paths within the science and liberal arts, where that's my home, and I preside over the college as dean. The next slide, please. So NJIT is consistently ranked among the best universities in the U.S. In this year's ranking, we were in the top 50 of national public universities. And so we're a high quality, a very demanding institution, but our graduates are so widely sought, whether it's graduate school, medical school, by companies, by industry, and it's really because we do have a demanding, a very good curriculum. It's a technology school, so it's most degrees are calculus based as their foundation, but it's a fabulous university. I mentioned we're a Research One, so the Carnegie Foundation ranks universities according to their research activity. The R1 or Research One is the very top one. There's 131 schools that are ranked as Research One, and NJIT is one of those. And as you'll see, we offer degrees not only at the undergraduate level, but right through the PhD level. Next slide, please. We've also recently been ranked #1 in upward mobility, upward socioeconomic mobility. And that's something we're really proud of, because we at NJIT, we fundamentally believe that education is a transformational experience for students, helps to transform their lives and help them to reach their goals. The upward mobility is defined as the percentage of students that enter into a university whose family income is in the bottom 20% of the income distribution in the US. And after 10 years beyond graduation, those graduates are earning in the top 20% of income in the United States. And that truly is transformational, not only for their graduates, but for their families as well. Next slide. So within the College of Science and Liberal Arts, there are 6 departments. We also have the Air Force ROTC program, Reserve Officer Training Program. I didn't list it here, but that's also administered in a great program through the college. But the degree programs are in the biological sciences, the bachelor through PhD, chemistry, environmental science, biochemistry, chemistry, environmental science, forensic science, again, bachelor through the PhD. History department has the history and law, technology, and culture degree. The law, technology, and culture is essentially our pre-law degree, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. Humanities and social sciences is a broad-based department. Cyber psychology, we're going to talk about what that is. That's a new degree program, exciting degree program. Communication and media, science, technology, and society. The STS program is a bit of a hybrid of a social and political science oriented program with a lot of environmental and sustainability policy focus. Theater, arts, and technology. Yes, we're a polytechnic university, but we've got a great theater program. The mathematical sciences has 2 degree programs at the undergrad level, and they go through the PhD. The math science degree program has 5 areas of specialization. You can see them listed there: applied math, applied stats, computational math, math biology, and a very popular one, finance and actuarial science. And then we have a new program, data science. You know, we're in this digital world, cyber psychology, data science, and you'll see the connections there. And our applied physics program is a great program. We offer degree programs from the BS through the PhD, along with graduate degrees in material science and engineering. And why do I mention the graduate programs? Because as an undergraduate, you'll have the opportunity to pursue research along with and learn from PhD students, learn from professors. And the presence of a PhD program usually indicates very strong research activity and opportunities for undergraduate students. And so these degree programs, we keep them current, and we're really trying to pay a lot of attention to trends in industry, trends that will help guide our graduates to successful careers in the future. Next slide, Andrew, please. So I mentioned about our actuarial science program, Mathematics of Finance and Actuarial Science. This program is ranked number 5 in the country, the only one that's ranked in the top 10 in the state of New Jersey. The graduates get fabulous jobs in either the finance industry, the risk management, which is the insurance industry, Prudential, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, MetLife, Chubb Insurance, you name it, that the top companies in the field hire our graduates. We have over 200 of our graduates from our program at Prudential alone, which is headquartered in Newark. Next slide, please. So we also have a great pre-med mentoring program. So the biology degree, the biochemistry degree, the chemistry degree, those are very popular degree programs for pre-med students. And they have great success. About 92% of our students that want to go on to medical school or dental school get admitted. So that's among the highest in the country. Next slide, please. So I want to highlight just 3 programs. These are our newest programs. So next slide, Andrew. So cyber psychology, you may ask yourself, what is cyber psychology? You have an idea what psychology is? Well, cyber is the digital, engaging in the digital world, which we're doing right now. And I'm sure you'll do a little bit after this and perhaps even over the weekend. But this program is designed for students that have a strong interest in both the psychological and behavioral sciences. And we emphasize an applied scientific approach to studying human behavior with this new degree program. This is the very first BS cyber psychology program in the United States. Next slide. Here's an example of some of the courses you would take, and I'm not going to go through this in any detail. Just want to draw your attention to a few. Psychopathology, biology of behavior, minds and machines, artificial intelligence, cyber psychology, user experience core, social network analysis, designing the user experience, and plenty of electives. This just gives you an idea of where this program will orient you to go. Next slide, Andrew. And so, you know, in this new field of cyber psychology, what might you do? The user experience designer and researcher is a huge field to help develop products, whether it's social media platforms, whether it's marketing strategies that people will want to interact with, that people will be persuaded by or want to use. Market researchers, advertising account executives, digital analysts, and it's great preparation for either law or medical school or further education in the behavioral or social sciences. Next slide, please. So that's an intriguing new program. As I mentioned, we're in the digital age. So the digital technologies are affecting people, they're affecting human behavior. The cyber psychology program is designed really to explore that and to prepare a generation of professionals that will understand that, be able to develop policy and work for companies. Another aspect of the digital world that we're in is data. There's tremendous data being generated. How do you manage it? How do you use it? How do you understand it? And so this data science statistics option is designed exactly for that. Next slide. You'll see from the curriculum, it's heavily quantitative. So it has a calculus based, calculus and linear algebra based, a very strong concentration, 30 credit hours, 15 courses in different types of statistical methods and analysis. There's a computer science core, 7 courses in computer science, a 12 credit hour math core, and then numerous electives, whether you're interested in artificial intelligence, machine learning, data mining, blockchain technology. You can tailor the degree for the interests that you have. Fabulous forward thinking degree program. Next slide, please. What might you do with this? Data engineer, data miner, data scientist, working in e-retail logistics, the financial industry, health industry, insurance, social media, news organizations. Just about every organization now hires data scientists. Data and data analytics is so important. One of our graduates recently got a job with the Philadelphia 76ers as part of their data analysis team. And she's been working with them and really helped lead them to a massive improvement to their performance over the last 5 years. So you never know where you'll end up, but there's tremendous opportunities. Next slide. The third program I want to feature is another fairly new program at NJIT, a forensic science program. It's the first and only Bachelor of Forensic Science in the state of New Jersey. There are 3 different degree options. Forensic biology, so that's largely DNA analysts, so analyze DNA, DNA lab work. Forensic chemistry, that's trace analysis, toxicology, drug analysis. And then this new world of digital forensics. And so there's a lot of informatics courses that are offered through this. This is a physical and life science-based program. Students take biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, and become skilled through the forensic core in forensic evidence collection, technical analysis, data interpretation, and importantly in professional regulatory practices that are important in this field. You can see the forensic science coursework, intro courses, crime scene investigation, that has an exciting laboratory, law and evidence, physical methods, the various forensic chemistry, microscopy, biology, and a capstone course, which is typically a co-op in a forensic lab or a medical examiner's office. We recently have built a crime scene facility. We have a crime scene car. We bring in instructors that are practicing detectives, practicing forensic scientists. Students learn side by side with them. Exciting electives. Forensic pathology was taught last semester by the chief medical examiner for the state of New Jersey. And he hired one of our students as an intern and also for a full-time position. Forensic nursing, forensic psychology. This semester got a great course in the digital forensics option, mobile device forensics. So great curriculum, a lot of job opportunities. And we've built a state-of-the-art laboratory. If you can go to the next slide, I'm going to go through these slides quickly, but just to give you a flavor, we decided when we started this forensic science program, we didn't want just a forensic science program for the great state of New Jersey. Our intent was to build the very best forensic science program in the United States. And so that started with bringing in experts. The person that is directing it was for 17 years one of the chief DNA forensic analysts in the New York City medical examiner's office. Fabulous experience and connections. He co-wrote the textbook in crime scene techniques, which is one of the most popular ones in the country right now. So we have state-of-the-art equipment. You'll see a laser scanner. This is an optical laser scanner that can go and do a 360-degree scan of a crime scene. You can bring it back to the lab and reconstruct it. Students learn all the latent fingerprint techniques in development and learn how to use sophisticated comparative fingerprint software to digitally analyze fingerprints. Next slide. In our trace evidence, trace analysis laboratory, next slide, Andrew. We have state-of-the-art chromatography and spectroscopy equipment for toxicology analysis and drug analysis, and students all get extensive hands-on experience. We have a lot of microscopes. Microscopy is a big part of our lab experience as well. Next slide. I mentioned we have one of the area's foremost DNA experts, forensic DNA experts, directing and leading our program, Dr. David Fisher, Mr. David Fisher. He's assembled a suite of state-of-the-art equipment that students get experience in, starting with extracting nucleic acids from forensic samples, amplifying them through PCR amplification, and then sequencing them through our genetic analyzer system to sequence the DNA, and then using the most advanced state-of-the-art software to deconvolute DNA to identify specific DNA in complex mixtures. And so students get hands-on experience in all of these areas. Next slide. And what you might enjoy is a very vibrant and active Forensic Science Student Association. They're active on campus. And here's a picture at one of the American Academy of Forensic Science national meeting. They typically go and present their work at the National Academy meeting each year. So it's a great, those are three great programs. They offer interesting career paths and they supplement the other programs. Next slide, please. World's foremost facilities for space weather research. We're located in Newark, New Jersey. We own and operate the Big Bear Solar Observatory in Big Bear Lake, California, the highest resolution optical solar telescope in the world, Owens Valley Solar Array Radio Telescope. We're looking at the dynamics of the sun, and the solar eruptions are what lead to solar weather, solar storms, disruption of our communication systems, disruption of our power grids. So we're understanding the very fundamentals of these eruptions. We're tracking the propagation of that energy, the solar storms through space. We have instruments on satellites in the Van Allen probe, or in the Van Allen probes in the ionosphere. And we have magnetometers and radio telescopes in Antarctica. And our students are active undergraduate students and graduate students at these facilities, analyzing the data and contributing to our understanding of space weather and how they affect our everyday lives and communication systems. Next slide.
I'm sorry to interrupt this presentation, but unfortunately we're almost out of time for this meeting. So
Okay.
right now, I'd like to give a quick conclusion before the meeting adjourns. So, thank you, Dr. Belfield, for sharing all this valuable information today. And thank you all for coming tonight. We all hope that you have learned something about NJIT today. And please try to look into the resources that we have shared today. If you have any questions, we already posted an email in chat. So if you want to pursue them, please email us through this email. We will try our best to get back to you. All right.
And thank you. Sorry for running a little bit long. The last thing I was going to show you is our something from our theater program, but we're kind of well balanced between tech and theater and arts.
As last night we were unable to get through the rest of the slides because of limited Zoom time, we will just review some of them now. So, Dr. Belfield was saying that NJIT had a great balance and mix of theater, arts, tech, and science. One such example of how great our theater program is at NJIT is the Macbeth play here, this is a poster advertising a Macbeth play, and we recommend you to go check it out if you have time. Also, speaking of mixing tech and theater, one very unique group of majors at NJIT is Theater Arts and Technology major. At Theater Arts and Technology, we teach and train students in applied theater education, light and sound design, playwriting, improvisational theater techniques, music albums, directing and performance. Students also learn to develop their own projects using technology and design. They communicate ideas clearly within a supportive environment and build and showcase their work in a public venue. So, what do these theater, arts, and technology majors do? So, theater, arts, and technology majors are trained in applied theater education to present themselves in a professional manner with an organized agenda, a clear plan of action, and can put together a team of respective abilities of each member to ensure the success of an outcome. This applies to any discipline or cross-disciplinary profession that we have studied, listening and analyzing the subtext or underlying meaning of a situation, able to accept and give critique and avoid criticism, and an overall understanding of human interaction through theater, arts, and technology. So some very common job titles of theater, arts, and technology majors include Communications Associate, Office Manager, and Unit Computing Specialist. So here are some employees of NJIT graduates. As we've already said multiple times, many employers seek NJIT graduates because of how high our course curriculum is compared to other universities. So these employers include JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Mellon Bank, and Riskval. So once again, if you have any questions about the seminar, please pursue them through this email, Elias njit@gmail.com. Once again, that's Elias, njit@gmail.com. No spaces, no capitals. Elias is spelled AYLUS. njit@gmail.com. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us through this email, and we will do our best to answer them. Thank you everyone for attending this seminar, and thank you all for you spending your time with us tonight.